Hey everybody. So I am hyped about the entire semester. I am so hyped about all the speeches you guys are going to be giving and that you've already given. And this particular video is about how I'm hyped about the persuasive speeches. And that's not to say that I'm not hyped about the informative ones. It's just that I wanted to also emphasize that I'm hyped about the persuasive speeches. And I have kind of a specific reason why I'm hyped about all the speeches, and specifically the persuasive speech for this video anyway, I'm hyped about because what I've noticed over the years is that many of the things that the students introduce in their persuasive speeches actually come to life. So for the persuasive speech, you might notice that if you read the assignment sheet, I've asked you to actually suggest a solution to a problem in our world or universe that we live in. And there are all sorts of like persuasive topics, whether they be euthanasia or the war on drugs, or it could be something like legalizing marijuana, or people should exercise more, or eliminating AstroTurf, veganism, vegetarianism, global warming, Black Lives Matter. There are so many persuasive topics out there. The death penalty is another famous one. So many millions of topics. But at this third main point, you might notice in the body of the speech that we ask you to come up with like a suggestion for how we can make things better. Some people call that the solution. And one thing that gets me really hyped over the years of doing this is that the things that you guys recommend, that you suggest, that we do as individuals and that we do as a society as a whole, actually have come to fruition over the years. And so in other words, these speeches are assignments for school, but the things that students are suggesting actually do happen. And I want to give you some examples of that. The biggest one I can mention is way back before I even started teaching at City College. In the early 90s, I taught at University of California, Santa Barbara, and I had a student give a speech there about gay marriage. And all these years later, gay marriage has been legalized. It took a long time, and we still have a long ways to go in terms of gay rights and whatnot, but that actually did happen. It was pretty cool. So it's an example of something that a student introduced in class, and then it took a long time, but eventually did happen. And in that case, I think at the time, all the students in the class agreed that it was a great idea, although they were wondering how we were going to actually get it through legislation and make it happen. It took a long time, but it actually did happen. So there's an example there. The thing with grocery bags, like where grocery bags, of course, now we're not doing the whole grocery bag thing. But the idea of reusable grocery bags, that is normal when we're not doing COVID-19. That is another thing that has, initially was a speech where students said, grocery bags are super wasteful. People should not get them for free. They should charge for them to encourage people to bring their own grocery bags. And, as you know, that became a law. Another thing that students suggested over the years, I had a lot of students that gave speeches against affirmative action. Now, you may agree or disagree with that, but in the mid-90s, affirmative action was banned in California. And so that's an example of something that people got rid of. I know some of you might like affirmative action and agree with it, but I just want to give you an example of something where my students were giving speeches about it. And they ended up happening. The thing happened that they wanted, which was to get rid of affirmative action, particularly at UC Berkeley. So there's another example. Hybrid vehicles. Another example was to give people, first off, to even invent hybrid vehicles. That was a speech at one point. And then once they were invented, to give people a tax incentive to buy a hybrid vehicle. And as you know, people get certain incentives from the government for buying a hybrid vehicle like a Prius. So a lot of the things that we hear in speeches actually do happen. So it's kind of exciting. Obviously just doing an assignment just to learn is wonderful. But when you think about it, and your assignment is something that actually at some point in our society we end up adopting, and who knows, maybe your speech helps it happen, that's pretty exciting too. So have fun at picking your topic. And there are a wide range of topics, certainly. But I just wanted to let you know why I'm so hyped about it. One other note, since I have your attention here, is about how we listen to persuasive speeches. When you listen to a persuasive speech, try to listen to see how good of a speech it is in general, instead of getting into whether or not you agree or disagree with the person. there's a tendency to get into like, oh, well, he's too right wing, so I'm not going to like his speech, or he's too left wing, or she's too this or that. Just listen to the person. Showing appreciation for the speech doesn't mean you agree with their political point of view. So you could actually hear a speech done by somebody whose politics you totally disagree with, but if they write a good, solid speech, you might appreciate it anyway, even though you ultimately disagree with their point of view. So just something else to just sort of keep an open mind as you're listening to persuasive speeches and have fun. It's just an opportunity to try to, say your point of view, and also don't try to conform to, any kind of preconceived notion that the professor might be liberal or conservative or whatever. Obviously we're living in San Francisco. I'm a college professor, so I'm going to lean left, but if you want to come at this from a right-wing perspective, feel free to do so. Please be encouraged to do so, and state your political point of view in this persuasive speech as you wish. All right, so that's all the stuff. Have fun with the persuasive topic selection. And let me know if you have any questions. I'm always here. Email me. And yeah, go persuasion. I'm hyped about all your speeches, but in this particular video, I wanted to emphasize particularly the hypeness that I'm feeling for the persuasive speeches. Okay, have a good one. Bye-bye.